What's up, party people, and welcome to Stoniecast number 143 and season 5, episode 5 of Thoughts and Hunches, Making Money in Bunches and Sucker Punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 143rd time, and I'd like to welcome all of my fellow scumbags, hoodlums, lowlifes, shady characters, heathens, scoundrels, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, hustlers, wise guys, people that give themselves nicknames and speak in the third person, foul-mouthed raging alcoholics, MLB players that have got into a fight with Bryce Harper. You know exactly who you are. Cheats, disasters that take pride in a $4 profit on the WNBA, gangsters, fienders with abusive language, degenerates. Let's face it, anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, congratulations. That means you probably fit into a few of those categories, so welcome, because you're now one of us, one of us, one of us, one of us, gooba gobba, one of us. We accepted one of us. Sorry, sometimes I get a little carried away there from time to time. Now, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner. Ring that bell, right? That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. To spread the word's also very easy. Just tell other degenerates and scumbags, you know, crews, to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches in the search bar. That'll take you right to my page so you can get dialed into everything that I give you. Also, if you're new to the show and you're not really sure what it's all about, it's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, that's about 2 weeks away, and college basketball winners, that's about a month and a half away. The books don't expect a guy like me to deliver this many winners, right? That's what I do, right? I'm an outlier and a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. I disrupt.
Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene.
That's nonstop what I do. I go out every week, I get to the mattresses, and I get the info for you in order to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I have a couple of thoughts.
Give me all you got! Listen, give me all you got!
Yeah, that will just never get old. I talked last week about the dogs in the NCAA that have been barking this season, and the NFL has been no different, right? With New Orleans, Minnesota, and Las Vegas being the biggest dogs to win outright last weekend. Chew on this stat for a minute. NFL underdogs of 6 or more points this season are 8-0 against the number. Yeah, just stop and think about that. 8-0. That's the best record in my lifetime. Yeah, it's been 50 plus years. No, I'm not going to give you my age, but let's just say it's at least 50 of them. The dogs have been impressive this season, and the chalk hasn't, right? They just haven't been getting it done. So what that does is ruin a certain someone's 16-team parlay every week with all the favorites on the money line that pays $3. To show you how crazy the first 2 weeks of the season have been, if the season ended today, the 3 best players in the NFL, you know what? Let's make it 4. The 4 best players in the NFL so far that are the NFL MVP frontrunners right now. Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Sam Darnold. Those are the 4 best players in the league right now after 2 weeks. Yeah, it's official though. We've gone to the freaking zoo. Period. Now, let's move on to Stoney's first ever NCAA Top 12 rankings. I'm going to do this every week from now right up until the final 12 are selected. These are based on current AP rankings and from what I've seen on the field. So some teams may have higher rankings than others based on who they've beaten and who they've played, more importantly, because not a lot of teams are really scheduling up. I'll start at the top with Texas because they've been the most impressive team so far, and I don't really think it's that close. They lost their starting quarterback. Arch Manning steps in. They don't miss a beat. They're the number 1 team in the country. Number 2 is Tennessee, based on their win at North Carolina State and hanging 70 points on a couple of worms last week. But NC State, at NC State, tough building to play, and a win. Number 3 is Alabama. Because of their blowout win in Madison over Wisconsin last Saturday, that's got to put them in the top 3. Number 4 is Georgia, right? A lot of people have their number 1. They've only lost freaking 2 games in 4 years, or 3 years now. It's just sickening. Last year they went 13-1, won the Orange Bowl, and that was a disappointing year. That's a freaking dynasty right now, right? And they've only got 2 titles, right? Well, anyway, they're undefeated. They're number 4 after a blowout win over Clemson in their opener. Yeah, they struggled in their win over Kentucky, but this team's loaded, no doubt. Number 5's USC after they beat up LSU, which doesn't shed much weight to me because they are Louisiana State, but everyone else seems to think it's a big deal, so we'll go with SC at 5. Number 6 is Penn State. Even though they've only played 2 games, the easy win in Morgantown stands out. Number 7 is Oregon. Though they didn't look good until a big win in the Civil War over Oregon State, they're still at number 7, right? Now, let me see here. Number 8 is Miami, I guess. Don't really, if you count Florida as an impressive win, I don't though, but Miami's got to be in there. I mean, they are steamrolling teams, but they haven't played anybody. Number 9, Ole Miss. Hasn't beaten anyone, but they're putting up massive numbers, and Jackson Dart right now is turned into a Heisman candidate, Number 10 is Ohio State. Yeah, okay, easy Buckeye Nation. I know you're all going to go crazy. My God, how can they be number 10? They haven't beaten anybody. They haven't scheduled anybody, and they've only played 2 games. Because they had a week off. That's why they're number 10. Number 11 is Missouri, who again has put up monstrous wins, but against nobody. And finally, number 12 is Utah. They keep winning despite Cam Rising's injury, right? None of the teams there have lost, right? They're all undefeated. The last 5 teams are undefeated, but they haven't beaten anybody. And the scheduling is just terrible. Right? So anyway, argue all you want, but I don't care. I really don't give a shit. Oh, wait. Did I forget LSU? No, apparently I didn't. Hell, they shouldn't even be ranked. I know college football. That's what I do, and that's what I've seen so far. Look out for my new list next week as we have a few big games coming up this weekend. As for the week that was, last week, another Thursday night NFL loss. Got us to 0-2 on the season and put us in an early hole. Then I hit both Friday NCAA games to go to 5-0 on the season so far on Friday, and continued my roll right into Saturday, where I dropped a 12-5 number to go 14-5 in college football. Doesn't get much better than that. I don't care what you're saying. That's a shade under 75%. NFL Sunday had me rolling again in the morning, and then everything was looking good right up until the end. But I managed 3 ties, which is crazy to think about. But I was 9-4-3 heading into Sunday night, where I lost my second straight Sunday night game and lost the Monday night game too to get to 1-1 on the season. But the week ended with a thud after it had so much promise. 9-6-3 in the NFL ain't bad, right? Not at all. But we think about what could have been. Last week, 23 wins, 11 losses, 3 pushes. 67.65%, top notch. Top notch. Anything above 56% is great. When you hit 67%, you're doing something right. NCAA football regular season, for the season so far, 37 wins, 24 losses, 60.65%. Again, can't be beaten. NFL regular season after 2 weeks, 17 wins, 13 losses, 4 pushes, 56.67%, lower than where I'd like to be, but still winning. Shout out Charlie Harper. Yeah, Charlie Harper I call him, not Charlie Sheen. Overall, 4 weeks so far in the books, 54 wins, 37 losses, and 4 pushes. I mean, that ain't too bad, right?
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
That's it. Please remember that all these picks are 100% free. So for all those touts out there that are giving you 75 to 80% winners, come on. We all know you're full of shit, plus you're charging for those picks, right? With me, just come to YouTube every week and I'll drop my plays on you for free. You ready? Here we go. Let's get it all started tomorrow night at 8:15 Eastern on Amazon at Snoopyville in East Rutherford. The 1-1 New Jersey Jets are 6-point home favorites over the 1-1 New England. And the total is 37.5. The Jets could very easily be 0-2 and probably should be after getting curb stomped by the 49ers in their opener. And we're fortunate last week as the Titans yacked all over themselves on Sunday to get the Jets to even. New England could very easily be 2-0 after taking out Cincy in Week 1 and losing in overtime to Seattle on Sunday. New England has already exceeded their expectations. There's a little fool's gold there. They're not nearly that good. It's not going to happen on the road in Jersey here. Give me the Jets and lay the 6. Let's move on to Friday night NCAA football, where I'm currently a perfect 5-0 on the season. Knock on wood. We got some early good games scheduled, right? So let's get started Friday at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN at the Carrier Dome. Yeah, I still call it the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, where the 2-0 Orangemen are 8.5-point favorites over 1-1 Stanford, and the total's 57.5. Give me a second. Syracuse has W's so far over Ohio and Georgia Tech last week, while Stanford lost to TCU in their opener and blew out Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. The Orange can score, and Stanford's lack of defense and a cross-country travel aren't a good sign. Give me the Cuse, lay the 8.5. Friday night at 8 Eastern on Big Fox at Memorial Stadium in the land of Lincoln. Number 22 Nebraska is a 7.5-point home favorite over number 24 Illinois. And the total is 42.5. Both schools are 3-0 since they both played in the infamous Week 0. And each of them only have one victory of note on their ledgers. It just, Illinois came from behind to take out Kansas 2 weeks ago, while Nebraska beat up Colorado on the same day. I mean, are those impressive wins? Probably not, but they are what they are. They're both ranked, they're both playing well, and they're both looking to contend in the Big Ten. Neither will, but they're both looking to contend. But both will go bowling in 3 months. I'll take Illinois here, catching all those points. Moving on to Saturday. Let's go at noon Eastern on ABC at Memorial Stadium in Clemson, where the 21st ranked Tigers are 20.5-point home chalk versus 2-1 North Carolina State, and the total's 47. ACC play is now in full gear, right? And each of these schools have endured a blowout loss to an SEC school. Clemson had last week off and will win this one fairly easy. But I like the Pack here, getting all those points, and they might even slip through the back door. But either way, it's Wolfpack plus 20.5. Noon Eastern on ESPN U at Cajun Field in Ruston. 1-2 Tulane is a 3-point road favorite at 2-0 Louisiana, and the total's 54.5. Tulane may be 1-2, but that's because they've scheduled two Big 12 schools in the first 3 weeks. I like the Cajuns, but I like the Green Wave a little more. Give me Tulane -3. Noon Eastern on ESPN in Starkville. We get the 3 F's of the South: faith, family, and football. 1-2 Florida is a 6-point road favorite at 1-2 Mississippi State, and the total's 58.5. A case can be made, and a very good case, that these are the 2 worst teams in the SEC. But there's still good value here. Hail State is a mess. Florida ain't much better, right? But this could be the last game the Gators win for a while, and it could be the last game that the head coach Billy Napier wins also before he gets tossed. Give me Florida -6. Noon Eastern on FS1 at Nippert Stadium in the Queen City. 2-1 Cincinnati is a 3.5-point home favorite over 1-2 Houston, and the total set at 47.5. Both schools have had their moments. Houston lost a heartbreaker 2 weeks ago at Oklahoma, while on the same day Cincy blew a late lead to Pittsburgh, which would have made the Bearcats 3-0 had they held on. This one's a tough one on the side, but I'm here to roll with under 48 as I don't see either team really rolling it up. 3:30 Eastern on CBS at the Big House in Ann Arbor. 11th ranked USC is a 5.5-point road favorite at number 18 Michigan, and the total's 46.5 in both schools' Big Ten openers, not to mention USC's first Big Ten game ever. Michigan beat Fresno State and Arkansas State, sandwiched around a blowout loss at home to Texas 2 weeks ago. SC's 2-0 but haven't played anyone. As everyone knows, Louisiana State is bad, and the Trojans are coming off a bye week. Michigan is going to have to show me something since they're 0-3 to the number, and until they do, I just can't do it. I got to keep betting against them. Give me SC minus 5.5. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN at Jordan-Hare Stadium on the Plains. 2-1 Auburn is a 3-point home favorite over 2-1 Arkansas, and the total's 58. Both teams have underperformed and are eerily similar. They both have 2 wins over nobodies, and while Auburn lost at home to Cal, Arkansas lost at Oklahoma State. Auburn begins the season with 4 straight home games, which is nice. Shout out Bill Murray. I got that going for me, which is nice. But I like Arkansas here. I'm just not sold on Auburn, so give me the Hogs. I really kind of don't have a choice. So give me the Hogs +3 on the road with a sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, man.
That's what you got to do, right? Any dog 3 or less that you're taking, sprinkle. Just like Earl Stevens tells you. You don't know who Earl Stevens is? Look that shit up. Know that. Bay Area shit. 3:30 Eastern on ABC at Tiger Stadium in Colin, Baton Rouge. 16th ranked Louisiana State is a 24.5-point home favorite over 1-1 UCLA, and the total's 56.5. I will be in attendance for this one personally, and have been waiting to see UCLA play a game in the South for the first time since 2017 when they visited Memphis. Yes, UCLA is my squad, but I have no fantasies of them being any good at all this season, right? In Deshaun Foster's first year at the helm, and I even took Indiana last week at the Rose Bowl and never sweated at all as the Hoosiers rolled over at just a clearly outmatched UCLA squad. You know, that was just one of my many wins from last week. One of the many. That's what I did. That's what I delivered. They just seem to be everywhere. You're welcome. UCLA's not good. But then again, neither is LSU. I guessed at the start of the season that Louisiana would be 25-point favorites. I don't even want to call him a friend. He's an acquaintance, right? Who's flying out from California, cruise. And I told him at the start of the season that Louisiana would be a 25-point favorite. And I damn near hit it on the nose. It lands on 24.5. LSU wins easily, leading many drunken Cajuns to drinking more than usual, if that's possible, and to start shouting that they're back, we're back, now that they're 3-1. Told you after they lost to USC in the opener that they would win their next 4 games. It's going to happen, but they ain't going to cover. Chinese Bandits can't put away the Bruins because LSU's defense is bad. Louisiana proves again that they are losers and move to 0-4 against the number this year as the Bruins get the cover plus 24.5. 3:30 Eastern on FS1 at Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock. 2-1 Texas Tech is a 3-point home favorite over 3-0 Arizona State, and the total's 60.5. Tech's only loss was to Washington State 2 weeks ago. ASU is 3-0 in credit for scheduling an SEC school, but Mississippi State is the worst team in the SEC. Give me the Red Raiders here at home, laying the 3. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN at LNFSFCU Stadium in Louisville. These federal credit unions really got to stop sponsoring stadiums. The 19th ranked Louisville Cardinals are 10.5-point home favorites over 3-1 Georgia Tech, and the total's 58.5. Tech beat Florida State and 2 glorified high school squads and lost to Syracuse 2 weeks ago, while this is Louisville's first test. But coming off a bye week, the Cards are rested. Louisville wins, but Tech is sneaky enough to get the cover, probably through the back door. Give me the Yellow Jackets catching 10 and a hook. 4 Eastern on Big Fox at Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater. 12th ranked Utah is a 2.5-point road favorite at number 14 Oklahoma State, and the total is 53.5 in a very good matchup of 2 ranked schools eyeing the Big 12 title. Utah won their Big 12 opener 2 weeks ago over Baylor, and Okie State took out Arkansas on the same day in both schools' only game of significance so far. Cam Rising is the story again for Utah, and I'm really freaking getting tired of talking about his litany of injuries and whether or not he's going to play. This is the 3rd straight year I got to deal with this bullshit. A great coaching matchup right here between Kyle Whittingham and Mike Gundy is going to have Gundy taking home the W. Give me the Cowboys at home, catching 2.5. Earl with a 40.
Sprinkle me, Mike. Sprinkle me.
With a sprinkle. You got to do that. 4:15 Eastern on SEC Network at Memorial Stadium in Columbia. 7th-ranked Missouri is a 21-point home chalk over 2-1 Vanderbilt, and the total set at 53.5. Mizzou's 3-0 with 2 blowouts and a win last week over Boston College, but not big enough to get the cover because I gave you the Eagles and the points in yet another win on Saturday.
Hoo-ah!
Yeah, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. Vandy surprised most by taking out Virginia Tech and Alcorn State impressively before losing one at Georgia State on Saturday, which really hurt them. And now have to head to Columbia to face a really good Tiger squad. Give me Mizzou here and lay the hammer as Vandy, and they're going to play like Vandy and wind up like Vandy. 5 Eastern on the CW Network at Gerald Ford Stadium in Fort Worth. 2-1 TCU. TCU is a 3-point home favorite over 2-1 SMU. That's where it is. The total's 58.5. This is a great rivalry, and it's gone on for years, even though they're both in different conferences. TCU won their first 2, and they blew a 10-point lead with 4 minutes left in a loss last week to Central Florida. That was just another one of my winners.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
You're welcome for that, by the way. All right. SMU won their first 2 before losing a tough one to BYU 2 weeks ago in another one of my winners. I mean, I could keep doing this all day. Hoo-ah! Pay that man his money. The winners from last week just keep coming. SMU had a week off to stew over that loss, so I like the Mustangs here on the road, catching 2.5 with, guess what? A sprinkle on the money line. 40.
Sprinkle me, Mike.
7 Eastern on ESPN at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. 0-3 Florida State is a 2.5-point home favorite over 3-0 Cal, and the total's 44.5. The SFU jokes are everywhere. They're 0-3 despite a number 9 ranking to start the season, and they've lost to Georgia Tech, Boston College, and Memphis. While Cal's 3-0 with a win on the Plains at Auburn as their only standout win. This is Cal's first game as members of the ACC. And the Golden Showers are going to start 0-1 in conference, right? Why else do you think an 0-3 team is a 2.5-point favorite over a 3-0 team? FSU gets off the schneid and gets the W. Knowles minus 2.5. 7 Eastern on FS1 at Husky Stadium in Seattle. 2-1 Washington is a 10-point home favorite versus 2-1 Northwestern, and the total's 42.5 in both schools' Big Ten openers. Washington's first Big Ten game ever. They won the first two over nobodies before they lost the Apple Cup to Washington State last week, while Northwestern lost to Duke in between a couple of wins over some really god-awful schools. UW ain't all that. And while Northwestern isn't very good either, 10 points is a big number, so I'll gladly take them. Northwestern plus 10. 7 Eastern on ESPN at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. 8th-ranked Miami's a 16.5-point favorite versus 2-1 South Florida, and the total 65.5. Yes, I said South Florida. With the shout-out Donnie O. With this one being played in Tampa, the Bulls have 2 wins and a loss to Alabama, while Miami and their non-rational fans, very, very non-rational, are 3-0 over a couple of high school junior varsity schools. Miami wins this one on their way to their usual hot start before the annual late season collapse, which is coming. We all know it is. But I'll be more than happy to take the Bulls and all those points. South Florida's dangerous here. Give me the Bulls catching 16.5. 7:30 Eastern on ABC at Memorial Stadium in Norman, the game of the week. 6th-ranked Tennessee is a 7-point road favorite at 15th-ranked Oklahoma, and the total's 57.5. OU is 3-0 after wins over Temple, Houston, and Tulane, while UT is undefeated after 3 blowout wins of Chattanooga, NC State, and Kent State. Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel goes back to Oklahoma, his alma mater, where he played and coached, at night to play a tough one in Norman. That's the big story going in. OU officially enters the SEC on Saturday at home, and as Charles Barkley once said about Angola, I don't know anything about Angola, but Angola's in trouble. Same thing with Oklahoma here. Tennessee is rolling right now, and OU's defense, they're going to be in for it on Saturday. Vols -7 and the over 57.5 as the Vols are going to score into the 40s by themselves. 7:30 Eastern on NBC at Huntington Bank Stadium in Stoneapolis. 2-1 Iowa comes in as 2.5-point road favorites at 2-1 Minnesota, and the total's 35.5. Iowa has a couple of blowout wins sandwiched around a loss to Iowa State, while Minnesota lost their opener to North Carolina, but has had 2 shutouts since. That 35.5 is always tempting, but I'll back off the total and roll with the home dog. Give me Minnesota here, catching 2.5 at home with a sprinkle on the money line. 40?
Sprinkle me, man.
8 Eastern on ACC Network at Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill. 2-1 Boston College is a 6.5-point home favorite over 3-0 Michigan State, and the total's 45.5. BC beat Florida State and Duquesne before dropping one to Missouri last week, but they covered in another one of my very big winners.
Hoo-ah!
They were just everywhere. Everywhere you looked, there was another winner. You're welcome. Michigan State has 3 W's with only a win over Maryland as anything consequential. Thomas Castellano is turning heads as BC's quarterback, and Michigan State doesn't look very good despite their 3-0 record. I like BC here, and I like BC huge. Eagles -6.5. 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. At Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo, 13th-ranked Kansas State comes in as 6.5-point road favorites at 3-0 BYU, and the total's 48.5. K-State is loaded and is a serious threat to win the Big 12 after wins over Tennessee Martin, Tulane, and Arizona last week. Oh yeah, the win over Arizona, it's just another one of my many.
Hoo-ah!
They come from all angles, they come at all times, and they just keep coming. You're welcome. BYU's no joke. With wins over Southern Illinois, SMU, and Wyoming, now they're at home, K-State gets the win and the cover on the road, though. Give me the Wildcats -6.5. And finally, this week's Degenerate Special, of which I'm now 1-1. Thank you very much last weekend. An easy 48-0 win from Fresno State. This one goes at midnight Eastern on Spectrum from the TC Ching Complex in Stony Lulu, where 1-2 Hawaii is an 8.5-point home favorite over 2-1 Northern Iowa, and the total's 48.5. It's hard to bet an FCS versus an FBS school. UNI beat Valparaiso and St. Thomas, Minnesota before getting drubbed by Nebraska last week. Hawaii took out Delaware State in their opener and now has losses to UCLA and Sam Houston State on their ledger. Neither team is good, but it's the late night get right and the last game on the board. So I'll take UNI catching 8.5 on the road. Okay, that may be a little bit excessive, but 23 college football plays to keep it rolling this weekend. Rolling. Keep rolling. This weekend is just an appetizer, right? As we still have a full NFL Sunday and Monday to get to. So let's get it going. Sunday, 1 Eastern, still on West Coast time. Fox at the Dog Pound in Cleveland, where the 1-1 Browns are 6.5-point home favorites over the 0-2 Giants, and the total's 38.5. Cleveland got blown out at home by Dallas in week 1, but they bounced back to take out Jacksonville on Sunday, while the Giants are just flat out a bad team, and Daniel Jones is terrible. Two of my most hated quarterbacks meet up at the Pound, and I have to like Cleveland's defense a hell of a lot more than I like Jersey's. Give me the Brownies at home, lay the 6.5. Also, 1 Eastern on Fox, right up the road here in Music City. Nissan Stadium. The 0-2 Titans are 2.5-point home favorites versus the 1-1 Packers, and the total's 36.5. Tennessee dropped both their first 2 games by the identical score 24-17 to the Bears and the Jets, respectively, while the Pack lost in Brazil to Stoniecast to kick off their season, and they bounced back by taking out the Colts at home on Sunday as one of my reverse turf home dog winners, which, for the record, are now 3-0 this season, as last week they were both outright dog winners. Now, this line will certainly move if Jordan Love goes, but at the time of recording of this, he's out. That means Malik Willis is going to go against his former team, the Titans, who can't stop gagging on themselves. I like the Titans either way because of their defense, and if Love goes, he won't be healthy, and the Packers will be favorites, which will make the Titans a reverse turf home dog. Right now, they're not, but they could be. For now, give me the Titans at home, lay the 2.5. 1 Eastern on CBS at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. The 0-2 Colts are 1-point home favorites over the 1-1 Bears, and the total's 42.5. Indy dropped 2 tough ones already to the Texans and Packers, as quarterback Anthony Richardson's erratic play has been the main contributor to both losses. The Bears should be 0-2 after playing well but losing Sunday night in Houston after getting a gift in Tennessee from back in week 1. 2 polarizing quarterbacks are matched up right here. And I'm going to take the one playing at home. Give me the Colts and lay the point. 1 Eastern on CBS at US Bank Stadium in Stoniecast. 2 undefeated teams get after it as the 2-0 Texans are 2.5-point road chalk at the 2-0 Vikings, and the total's 45.5. Minnie blew out the Giants and took out the 49ers on Sunday, while the media's anointed next great team, the Texans, are 2-0, but 0-2 to the number. Give me the Vikings catching 2.5 at home to get to 3-0 against the number with a sprinkle.
Big timer. 40 sprinkle me, man.
I don't know. They're just, 40. 1 Eastern on Fox at the Superdome in the Big Easy. I'll be in the Big Easy, but I'll be flying back home from the Big Easy, so I'm not going to the game. 2-0 Saints are 2.5-point home favorites against the 1-1 Eagles, and the total set at 49.5. The Saints have taken the NFL by storm through 2 weeks with blowout wins at home versus Carolina and in Big D on Sunday. 91 points in 2 games. This will obviously not continue. But right now, they're the toast of the NFL. Philly beat the Pack in Brazil to start the season, and they turned into the 2023 Eagles on Sunday in an absolutely abhorrent performance, blowing the Monday night game to Atlanta. Right now, the Eagles inspire absolutely no confidence outside of Saquon Barkley, and they're coming off a short week and traveling to the Big Easy. Nope. Give me the Saints. Lay the 2.5. 1 Eastern on CBS at the stadium formerly known. Wait a minute. Did I get that right? Yeah, I did get that right. Sorry. 1 Eastern. CBS. The stadium formerly known as the Giant Ketchup Bottle. Another matchup of unbeatens goes. The 2-0 Steelers are 2-point home favorites versus the 2-0 Chargers, and the total's 35.5. The Steelers are the Steelers, and they're playing Steeler football. They're 2-0, but have scored just 31 points combined in their 2 wins. Justin Fields is a joke, but TJ Watt is not, as he leads a brutal, brutal defense right now. The Chargers are playing Jim Harbaugh football. Even with a stud quarterback, they're running the shit out of the ball, and they've allowed only 13 points in their 2 wins combined. Herbert is iffy this week, but Harbaugh's Harbaugh. I can't see either of these teams getting to 3-0, but in this one, I'm on Pitt at home, so lay the 2.5. 1 Eastern on Fox at the Big Sombrero in Tampa. The 2-0 Bucks are 7-point home chalk versus 0-2 Denver, and the total's 39.5. The Bucks have racked up W's at home versus Washington and in Detroit last week, while Denver has losses in Seattle and at home to Pittsburgh on Sunday. Tampa's been impressive. Baker Mayfield's playing like an early MVP candidate, like I said earlier. Denver's a mess. Bo Nix may not be the answer. The Bronco defense is a question mark. Sean Payton is the most overrated coach in the NFL. The hits just keep coming. 7 is too many points, though, even at home. I'm not a fan of Sean Payton. I'm not a fan of the Broncos, but that's just too many points. So give me the Broncos on the road plus the full touchdown. 4 Eastern on CBS at Allegiant Stadium in America's Playground. The 1-1 Raiders are back home as 5.5-point favorites, home favorites over the 0-2 Panthers, and the total's 40.5. The Raiders lost to the Chargers to start the season and came from behind to shock the world in Baltimore on Sunday, while the Panthers have been blown out twice. Quarterback Bryce Young has been so bad that he's been benched already by head coach Dave Canales, and backup Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, is taking the reins this weekend. Remember him? Big win for the Raiders on Sunday, but I'm still not sold. Raiders win a tight one. Give me the Panthers catching 5.5 on the road. 4 Eastern on CBS at Lumen Field in Seatown. The 2-0 Seahawks are 4.5-point home favorites versus the 1-1 Dolphins, and the total's 41.5. Seattle hasn't looked great, but 2-0's 2-0 after wins over Denver and New England. Not exactly murderer's row, I get it. Miami took out Jayville in week 1 and lost to Buffalo last Thursday, but all that was before Tua Tagovailoa got knocked out. Skylar Thompson's now at the helm, and that hardly exudes confidence. This is a tough one because Seattle ain't that good, and I have a hard time laying 5.5 with them, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Hawks at home, laying the 4 1/2. 4:25 Eastern on Fox at Jerry World in Arlington. 0-2 Baltimore is a 1-point road favorite at 1-1 Dallas, and the total's 48.5. Both teams are coming off tough losses. Baltimore blew a 10-point fourth quarter lead at home to the Raiders, and the Cowboys just got undressed by the Saints at home. This one's really tough because I can't see the Ravens starting 0-3, but the Cowboys are a reverse turf home dog. Enough said. Enough said. What's his shout out? No, not Cedric the Entertainer. I'm drawing a blank right now. Oceans 11, 12, and 13. Might as well call it White Jack. Bernie Mac. Shout out Bernie Mac. Right? Dallas, money line, minus 105. Nuff said. Money line, I said Dallas. Yes, even though they're dogs. 4:25 Eastern on Fox at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. Always up to no good. The 1-1 49ers are 7.5-point road chalk at the 0-2 Rams, and the total is 43.5. SF beats the Jets, beat up the Jets, and they lost to the Vikings, while the Rams lost to the Lions and the Cardinals. This game is about which team can overcome injuries. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are both on the shelf for the Rams, while Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel are out for the Niners. Two good friends, Kyle Shanahan and Ryan Seacrest. Sean McVay. Or was I sorry? Meet again in a one-sided series that Shanahan's just absolutely owned. This one scares me, though, because the Rams' defense is a mess. And injuries are piling up. The offensive line's a mess. Matt Stafford's two weapons are both out. SF should win this game by 2 touchdowns. I'm a Niner fan. The Niners are going to win again. But the Rams catching 7.5 at home makes them a reverse turf home dog. So give me the Rams and the points. 4:25 Eastern on Fox at State Farm Stadium in Glendale. The 1-1 Lions are 3-point road favorites at the 1-1 Cardinals, and the total's 52.5. The Lions beat the Rams and lost to the Bucks with both games at home, and now they head over to Glendale where the Cards hammered the Rams on Sunday night after losing in Buffalo. Right now, Kyler Murray is light years ahead of Jared Goff, who isn't playing well at all. He's really struggling. Yeah, he does not look good. The Cards are a reverse turf home dog, making it 3 in a row. Gimme Zona and the field goal. Sunday night, 8:20 Eastern on NBC at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Hot Town. The 2-0 Chiefs are a 3.5-point road favorite at the 1-1 Falcons with the total at 46.5. The Chiefs should be 0-2. Yeah, we've all heard it before, but they find a way. I know, they find a way. Along with a lot of timely penalties. They always seem to go in their favor. Now it's off to Hot Town where the Falcons lost at home to the Steelers in Week 1 and came back from the dead on Monday night to beat the Eagles on the road. Kirk Cousins looked calm and poised. The Chiefs always seem to have a problem covering numbers, and the Falcons are a reverse turf home dog. So give me the Falcons catching 3.5. Yep, that's 4 straight games taking the reverse turf home dog. We've got a treat with 2 Monday night football games coming this week. And the first one is going to go at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park. The 2-0 Bills are 5.5-point home chalk versus the 0-2 Jaguars, and the total is 46.5. The Bills have taken out the Cardinals and the Dolphins, while the Jags have lost to the Dolphins and the Browns. I'm finally convinced that Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars offense has regressed since his rookie year. They were awful on Sunday, and they have been ever since the middle of last season. Clearly struggling. Joe?
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
Nobody could. Thanks, Joe. Buffalo has 11 days of rest since they last played. Bills minus 5.5. Easy. And finally, to close out the week, the late game on Monday night is at 8:15 Eastern on ABC at the Jungle in the Queen City. The 0-2 Bengals are 7.5-point home favorites. 0-2 Bengals are 7.5-point favorites. Just wrap your head around that. Against the 1-1 Washington Commando Skins. And the total is 48.5. Cincy continues their opening struggles with losses to New England and Kansas City, while Washington lost to Tampa but beat the Giants last week. I don't like either team here, and the 8 is way too big of a number. The Bengals have to show me something. Until they do, give me the Commando Skins, catching 7 and a chunk on the road. 23 NCAA plays and all 16 NFL matchups for that ass. Gives us a total of 39 this week, and once again, I'll be shooting for 23 wins at least to keep this train rolling, keep rolling. Look for me at the LSU versus UCLA game on Saturday, I'll be one of the few people there wearing UCLA blue and one of the most sober people there and one of the most educated people there because it is LSU after the, come on. Make sure to check back next Wednesday as Stoniecast 144 is coming back at you. So until then, make sure and remember that if you want to win big, you got to bet big. You can't go broke taking a profit. For me, the action is the juice. Scared money don't make money. The difference between winning and making money is that anyone can win betting chalk, but you can't make money unless you take the dogs. Would you rather win or would you rather make money? Think about it. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. I still miss you, Gooch. I still miss you, my brother.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Peace out, all.